All right, guys, welcome into our TigerBait live show. We do these every week, usually on a Wednesday or a Thursday night. Thursday night this week, and we're going to let a bunch of you guys get in here tonight. It's been actually kind of a slow week after a crazy week last week, but I still think a lot of people have some things to talk about, notably defensive coordinator search. I've got some feelings and thoughts on that, gut feelings after doing this for as many years as I have as to how this thing is likely to play out. Also, we still got a class of 2021 recruiting class to finish out. I imagine a bunch of you will have some questions on that. We'll get to that. And boy, I tell you what, the comments that we have seen on our TigerBait premium message board, the Tiger Den, which I want a bunch of you guys to be a part of, and our YouTube videos and our content items. The Jake Peetz portion of yesterday, and of course, DJ Mangus was impressive as well. But Jake Peetz very much has a lot of people excited about his future as LSU's offensive coordinator. And look, there's been excitement with previous coordinators. Matt Canada had everybody excited. So you never know what's going to happen. But I really feel good about what he had to say yesterday. I think a lot of you do as well. We'll talk about that on the show tonight. And as always, want to thank Pride Roofing out there in Albany, in Louisiana, at their main branch. And they've got branches all across Louisiana and into Mississippi. Went and visited their shop today, and it's absolutely fantastic. I want to share some of my thoughts on that a little bit later. Of course, Pride Roofing is the official roofing company of TigerBait.com, and we're glad to have them with us. A lot of Go Tigers tonight. Leon Nietzsche gives us some. Cade Galt gives us a Go Tigers. And DJ and Cobra Kai together, I'm down. Yeah, it's I think that it's going to be I think there's a big reason to be excited. I keep saying it each week. I'm really looking forward to having being COVID knocked away as far back as possible by the start of spring football practice. I hope the media get access to practice because there's going to be a whole lot of excitement between two new coordinators, new position coaches, 4 quarterbacks on campus battling it out, new faces, newcomers that can add to the depth chart. I'm going a little crazy. People think I'm nuts. I'm already, moving LSU ahead of A&M in the West next year. I think with what LSU's got returning, and I'm saying it's not knowing 100% who LSU's next defensive coordinator is going to be, but I think LSU is poised to have a breakout season when you've got a veteran offensive line coming back, and I do think that they're going to play significantly better in 2021. A spring football practice under their belt, and a complete off-season workout program. I know one of the goals this offseason is to get some of the guys leaner and stronger than they were last year. You can talk about how well these guys prepared on their own in the offseason. There's no replacing having Tommy Moffitt and his entire staff in guys' faces throughout an offseason. So we'll see how this plays out. Let's see what we got. I want to get a bunch of your comments tonight. Aloha, Mike. Akeem Nance. All right, Carrie Honea, and correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie, if I said it wrong. Listening from Virginia, Go Tigers. Joseph Thaddeus Giat, 3 remaining targets to fill the recruiting class. Yeah, I think there's going to be another offensive lineman. We'll see who it is. I do think one of the things that when I talked to a source a while back, not too far back, was, well, I'll say last week actually, the thought was, I knew it was becoming obvious that all of them were coming back. Their thought now is that you can talk about, a grad transfer and holding one back. I think that they feel now that if they can target a high school prospect, that'll have 5 years to play for, that might be the route to go, even if it's somebody they have to develop, because you've got all these guys coming back. And then you've got, of course, Will Campbell. That was some big news earlier in the week from Neville. He's going to announce his commitment on January 30th. I've had a prediction in for Will to LSU for many months. I don't think that's going to be a surprise to anybody. Absolutely a phenomenal offensive tackle, left tackle prospect. Went and saw him in their playoff loss to Karen Crow. You're talking about 6'6", 280 pounds. I think, what has he got, a size 18 shoe. His dad was telling me about how they can't even, how difficult it is to find shoes for Will. But I think between him, you got the fantastic Emory Jones at Catholic High Baton Rouge. I think he's a future All-SEC guard. He could play tackle if needed, but I think he's a big-time guard. I think if you put him next to Will Campbell on that offensive front, whether it's your current quarterbacks, Nussmeier, Walker Howard of the future, they're going to be excited to have those guys, and certainly, and that's the key part of it. Walker Howard and Will Campbell and Emory Jones, all three of those guys have formed a very good relationship, playing the PlayStation games online against each other and communicating a big bit. And of course, Will Campbell goes down to Lafayette a lot to work out with Walker Howard and all the STM guys. So I think this class of 2022 class will be special. But back to 21, that's the question. I think, look, Brian Thomas, of course, is still out there with Walker, and that spot's there for him if he wants it. But it might be very wise, and we'll see how it plays out. Get your coaches hired, go through a spring football practice, reevaluate where you might have some deficiencies, or knock on wood, if there's a catastrophic injury or two where you need immediate help, and if you have that one of those spots open, you could absolutely use it if need be. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this plays out. Carlton Reed, think we were waiting on an NFL for defensive coordinator? I do. Look, when Marcus Freeman announced on Friday, and look, I know in the morning LSU's confidence level was extremely high that Marcus Freeman was going to accept the LSU job. But I think the Notre Dame draw, being from the Midwest, family and all that, after talking to in-laws, and look, you can have some kids that are hitting middle school. They've got opinions, and believe me, they were talking about not wanting to leave friends or being too far away. In-laws, the works, I think that played a part of it, and certainly Catholicism and what Notre Dame means to them is that family being Catholic. So, but I felt when things really got quiet after Freeman announced that he was taking the Notre Dame job, combined with the fact over several days ago when Ed Orgeron said that he has a pretty darn good idea who his defensive coordinator is going to be. I really think that points to Ryan Nielsen, the defensive line coach of the New Orleans Saints. And of course, we're all going to be seeing what the Saints do in the rest of the way in the playoffs. But that looks to be who the guy is. It's the odds-on favorite amongst many of the people that I talk to, myself, and it's just a gut feeling. Early in the week when the Mississippi State guy came in, I just was not buying that. Personally, I didn't see where you could sell that. And not to even mention the fact that he had a huge buyout. I don't know how that would do anything for you as far as giving you a bounce and saying, wow, look at who LSU hired. I just didn't see that as being a guy. So we're going to see how this plays out. But yesterday, I think Jake Peetz and DJ Mangus really got people excited offensively. I think, like it's been the last 2 years, and I've been saying it on all these shows back to back, I think the offensive line obviously is, going to be still your question mark going into next season. But there, while you're going to have a battle at quarterback, I think there's so many guys there that are capable that I don't think quarterback's going to be a question mark once one of them wins the job, and you need to have a spirited and heated battle for that quarterback spot this spring. And if it runs into the summer, then so be it. But competition is going to be very, very good for this LSU offense. Offensive line, I think they're going to be much better. I keep saying I'm going to do it for the last 24 hours. Maybe one of you guys have already done it, or maybe you've seen somebody else out there already do it. But what is the average age of a starting LSU offensive lineman next year? It's going to be extremely mature and old, which is very, very good for that bunch. So wide receivers, going to be fantastic. Running backs, you're adding Corey Kiner and Armani Goodwin to what you've already got. Chris Curry, of course, went in the transfer portal. He found a home in Utah. So that was some of the news this week. And so we can talk about all that. Let me move on. Carlton, thanks for the read, buddy. Carlton Reed, thanks for the question, my friend. Let's see what we got here. There he is. Blake Ruffino, TigerBait, Mike Scarb. Everyone else is in the business. All right, in the business. All right, I was in his neck of the woods today in Hammond. He's got to be a Tiger. Cade Galt. He's from Neville, no doubt. Brian Penton. Let me scroll up. You said I missed you. I'm sorry, man. Let me scroll up. There you go. Brian, that's what I missed, and I guess it's because I was talking about. I think he's on to something. I think that's getting to be groupthink amongst everybody, and it just really makes sense, which I think that's something you can sell. What does LSU do in the offseason? They go out and hire NFL guys. That's a big draw, and it's a big draw in recruiting. They're going to be able to sell that big league when it comes to recruits. Don't kid yourself. All right, Kerry. Let me find my mouse, man. This thing ain't working tonight, this damn Dell. Hold on one second. Kerry Honia, listening from Virginia. Go Tigers. All right. I might have done that one already, didn't I? All right. Go Tigers from a bunch of guys. Kerry, you bring up a question. Why doesn't Corey Raymond want the DC job? I think Corey Raymond would like to be a defensive coordinator. I don't think he's pushed for it at LSU. I think if someone came in and offered him more money than he makes at LSU, which is right at $700,000 a year, as a position coach at LSU, Corey Raymond, and of course he's also got the recruiting coordinator moniker. He makes more than most. He makes more than most coordinators at all the mid majors. So. I was talking last week, the coordinators at Oregon haven't even broken $1 million yet. And Corey Raymond's right at 700,000, maybe a little over. That's a hard deal. And he's set up roots here. He's an LSU guy, 51 years old. It's kind of one of those deals, man. If you wanted to be a defensive coordinator, not to have any ageism, because I'm 2 years older than Corey, but it's almost like you've got to be on that track and bite the bullet. And if you've got to go to a Sun Belt school or a Conference USA school in order to get on that track and get an opportunity to be a defensive coordinator, you probably wanted to take that a decade ago. But, I mean, look, what's LSU about to do right now with Nielsen when you talk about DC experience? So I get it, but I think LSU needs to make a splash hire. And if you didn't get Marcus Freeman, who was the number one guy that everybody was going after, I think when you can point to having a NFL defensive coordinator as your guy, if Nielsen ends up being the guy, I think that's a much bigger sell. Let me see. Esteban. What's going on, TigerBait? Looking forward to this spring football. I agree, Esteban. I just hope, we were doing some spring practice updates last year. I was on my way to cover a spring practice, and when I got there, it was right when we learned, and I was the only one there. I didn't get the memo from Sports Information. I didn't read my media alert, and I drove all the way out to LSU, and I was at the gate, and that's when they had closed it for COVID, and that's when everything started, and we got locked out, and we didn't get any access the rest of the year. I'm hoping we have access when we get the usual, 15 to 20 minutes. Sometimes they'll give us a little bit more early on when they're just doing, basic work early in spring football. But just to get out there and see the guys on a football field, being able to take photos and video like we always do, and we do our practice reports. I just think there's going to be so much to talk about this year, and a lot of excitement, a way to rebound, a new beginning, so to speak. And I'm really, really looking forward to it, and it'll be here before you know it. In the meantime, you got an LSU basketball team with a huge win last night over Arkansas. I've been enjoying watching this Will Wade LSU basketball team and how they're not ranked yet. Maybe they've got to be getting close to. I suspect they should be ranked next week. I think this LSU basketball team is going to do some damage. If you haven't been tuning into them, you need to. Yeah, you'd like to have a big guy in the middle, but this is a fun team to watch. Check out LSU basketball. Will Wade's got it going. All right. Let's see. Arik Gilbert, been waiting. Dorian Starkey. I don't know if you guys listened to my last show. I've thought all along that regardless of what been the fluctuations of what's been out there, what he's tweeted, whether he's created new Twitter accounts, deleted Twitter accounts, cryptic tweets, what this source is saying or that source is saying, going in the transfer portal, is he in the transfer portal? Has LSU pulled back financials, whatever? I think that no matter what, LSU is always going to be a possibility for him. We'll see if he ends up back at LSU. But like I said last week, I think there's a lot of things going on with Gilbert that he needs to get fixed. And I do think that is part of the reason why some other schools might be hesitant. I don't know what kind of feedback he's getting, if he's making phone calls, here and there, or if someone on his behalf. I do believe that the mom wants him back at LSU. I think they've got a plan in place. And look, I believe Ed Orgeron when he says it. If they want him back, and they're with open arms. But there's some stuff that he needs to get fixed and taken care of, and hopefully it happens because there's no denying his ability and what a future he can have. But he's got to get on track and get some things fixed off the field in order for that to happen. And I'll just leave it at that. I'm being partially cryptic, but it's I guess it's not hard to figure out reading between the lines what I'm trying to say. So Dorian asked that. Carlton's asking something similar. So I'm gonna get on to Edward Washington. Why can't Cardell get on the field? Everyone was so high on him coming out of high school, and that has been a big question mark. Because when you look at the linemen in that class, Bradford, Perry, Cardell Thomas, when I talk to people about what's going on and they say, well, which of those three in order is likely to be on the field? Well, Bradford's first of those three, and Perry's second, and Cardell is third. Now, I know there's been some injuries, but Perry had injuries, had surgery. Both have had injuries to deal through and fight through. So that is another, those are some guys right there, Bradford, Perry, and Thomas, that I think this spring is vital for them. And it would be absolutely fantastic if you could get two of those three to be guys that you can rely on post. Well, you can rely on them for depth this year. And if they're pushing the action because of injury or a high ankle sprain to somebody, and they can be a guy, great. And hopefully they can be guys who can project as starters for the 2022 season. But at some point, you're getting to the point now with 3 seasons of them being in the program where it's like, hey, are they guys or they're not? Or are you already of the mindset that you have to recruit over them and get some guys in here? So, one of the knocks on Cardell has been, look, we know the strength. We've seen the clips. We saw the pancakes. First clips of him as a 10th grader running track and relays and winning the bench press competition at this camp and combine and all that. One of the knocks on Cardell has always been maybe a little bit of lower body issues, strength, and not having the longest of arms, which can be really a bad situation for an offensive lineman to not have much length. And so I think that's going to be one of the issues. You don't want to be an offensive lineman and have the same dress shirt sleeve length as Mike Scarborough. So I'm not saying his are as short as mine, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. All right, let's see what we got here. And I'm going to go back and forth, guys. Ronald John Elias, I'll be glad when this investigation is over. Any comments? No doubt. I think, look, you get finish all this recruiting class strong, get your new coaches in place, and if Nielsen ends up being the DC along with Peetz and Mangus coming in on the offense, and then we'll see what else comes about on the staff beyond that. And then you get the Title IX investigation revealed and what the findings are and what safeguards are going to be put in place, what needs to happen, where they fell down and didn't get things right. And if someone has to fall on the sword, then they'll let us know. But we're going to see how this plays out here. Guys, please do me a favor. I always ask you guys every week, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, please hit the like button and share. Very much appreciated when you share our Facebook Lives. If you like what we do here on these live shows, very much appreciated if you share it on your Facebook timeline. And if you're on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're not already a subscriber to our YouTube channel, I'm loading up multiple videos there almost every day. Player interviews and much more. And certainly once the spring evaluation period, I'm about to hit the road, going to see recruits. We're going to be putting a lot of stuff up there on our YouTube channel. Look for it. It's TigerBait.com, no dot, TigerBait.com. Hit the subscribe notification bell, and you'll also, you'll have the option whether you want to watch us live on Facebook or live on YouTube. Our YouTube channel has absolutely been blowing up with new subscribers. We've been loading a bunch of content there. And of course, we always want you as a subscriber to TigerBait.com. But I really want to take a minute here to talk about the sponsor of this show, Pride Roofing. They've been with us from the beginning. Of course, I grew up with Mike Faraday in Sherwood Forest. He's a Broadmoor High graduate, an LSU grad. Went out to Albany today to their big place, and it's amazing the equipment they've got. They've got enough roofing material out there to roof 100 homes. And right now, with all the disasters we've seen in South Louisiana, Sulphur, Lake Charles, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, if you're on the North Shore, we had some storms that come through. Free inspections, give them a call. No one tops their labor warranty, and just absolutely fantastic people. I saw some machinery there. If you're familiar with equipment, the flashing that you put on the edge of your roof, they make theirs in-house. And I'm telling you, if you're using a wooden ladder, it's going to dent your ladder rather than crumble like a piece of tinfoil, like the stuff that every other roofing company is using out there. Give them a call, ask free inspections, tell them you heard about them on TigerBait.com. Absolutely fantastic guys. Bonded, insured, the best, Better Business Bureau rated, highest rating. You cannot beat Pride Roofing. And if you're in Sulphur, Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, Tangipahoa, the North Shore, Covington, Slidell, Mandeville, Madisonville, Houma, Gulfport, we've got you covered at Pride Roofing. And you can hear them on the Walton and Johnson show now. You can catch their ads there. They have a large supply of shingles at their main office in Albany on Highway 90. If you're going down Highway 90, you'll see them. I was there today. It's amazing what they're doing inside that facility that they purchased. And by the way, with all that material that I saw, from the time you get your inspection and your quote and you're moving ahead with the new roof, they can get it done within 2 weeks. There's a lot of competition out there that's taken upwards of 3 months because they don't have the shingles in stock. With all the natural disasters across the country and all the storms, particularly in Southwest Louisiana, they have stockpiled miles and miles of roofing material so they can get you fixed up. Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Please tell them you heard about them from Mike Scarborough on TigerBait.com. Very much appreciated. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, the best of the best, and check them out. Dane Bergeron, hey Mike. Joshua Stewart, no, I'm not going to dodge that question, Josh. Tyler Izine. I hear Glenn Schumann is a possibility for DC as well. I've heard that name. I've heard it. I think it's Nielsen. And I addressed that earlier. So, no, wasn't avoided. I'm kind of herky-jerky tonight with some of the stuff here tonight. Samuel Holston, what is your prediction on Will Campbell? Do we have a chance? I think he is if some of you go back to me to the early Doucette recruiting process when I said if early Doucette signs anywhere but LSU, I'll run down Skip Bertman Drive naked. I don't make those kind of predictions anymore, but I think it's kind of in that vein for Will Campbell. Super kid, super family, love his parents, met them, like I said, and him and Walker Howard are extremely tight, and so we're gonna find out on January 30th. My prediction is LSU, and throw in take it to the bank or whatever you want to say, but my prediction level on that one is a 10 out of 10. Let's see. Justin, you bring up a good question. Who should wear number 18 and 7 for next season? You know what I think? I wonder if they shouldn't step back from that. I mean, look, if you're going to give Stingley 7, I get it. But I don't know, maybe go a few weeks into the season and award it to somebody. Or if you don't feel that there's somebody that deserves 18, why not take a year off? Take 2 years off. Ramp up your criteria for the number 18. And I'm not throwing stones at anybody who's gotten those 2 numbers in the last couple of years, but really make it valuable. I mean, if you go a stretch where it hadn't been given out for a while, then so be it. Then it makes it even more valuable when it is awarded to somebody. That's just my opinion. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section. Dane says he agrees with me. Yeah, Joshua, thanks, Mike from Albany. Man, I went to, they took me to a Mexican restaurant right there on 190. What is it, Si Senor? Man, that was some good food. So I'm giving Si Senor free advertising. Had the fajitas. Very, very good today. Chris McGuire, do you think Brennan and Johnson equal going into spring practice? I think everybody's equal. I think you throw it wide open to all 4 of them, including Garrett Nussmeier. You've got new coaches. You've got new coordinator, new passing game coordinator. You open it up wide open to everybody. Everybody starts on ground zero. You're going to have a somewhat new offense. They're going to be doing a lot of stuff, obviously, from the Joe Brady tree. Obviously, if you watch Peetz's interview yesterday, his introductory press conference, he's got a very good sense of what he's dealing with, what's there. He's watched the film already. I had very nice things to say about TJ Finley and Max Johnson. Still some questions out there and some worry about what Miles Brennan in his health situation is. Is he going to be, where's he at right now? What's his health situation? Is he going to be ready to go? That's going to be very, very interesting here coming up. So I think you should open up wide open and have no favorites and let them compete. Competition is going to make that position as solid for LSU as any school in the country, because there's no denying the talent of all 4 of them. Saf Adams, or is it Safe? Forgive me if I'm getting it wrong. Eric quit as a freshman. I wouldn't want him back in the locker room. I think there's some circumstances with Gilbert that I understand, and I think you have. There's one thing that you don't do with a kid at this age. You don't throw anybody away. There's things that you can do to help a kid and make sure that things are going right. So let's see how this plays out here in the coming weeks. I don't know who's calling me downstairs, but I'm doing my show live. All right, I agree. Mike, numbers should be rested. Bryketha Mouton, Lamar Stevens. What? I'm not sure what's going on there, but you guys might have something that I'm going on that I didn't see today. Jonathan Meyer, good question. Who's your top running back in the state, and how many do you think we take? Man, I really like Le'Veon Moss, and I really like Achane. I like them both. I think they're different guys. Achane's 215 pounds and a bruiser. He's built different than his older brother. Man, I talked to people in Jennings that watched them both, and they think Trevor's better than Travis. I mean, that is saying a lot. And I mean, these aren't people who are picking a favorite. I mean, of course, they run the veer offense at Jennings. He's special. I saw we went and filmed Le'Veon twice this year. I went and filmed him Estrum at Broadmoor on a Thursday night. And I think he got like 6 or 8 touches. And I've got the film up on his profile that I filmed on TigerBait. I think he had like 3 touchdowns out of the 6 touches. And one of them was called back for a penalty that really wasn't a penalty. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Of course, Broadmoor is not a very good football team. I think it was like 28-0 before the first quarter it even ended. But still, I mean, absolutely a beast. I think he's going to be fine academically. I know he's got doing some work there. HN's an honor student. LSU's also got guys out of state that Kevin Falk has extended offers to. So I have been working on my class of 2022, my first ranking of all the players. And, when you start talking about Walker Howard and Emory Jones and Will Campbell, the receiver Anderson from Carr, who, man, I think is Josh Reed 2.0, and just going on and on, Dakotas Crawford. You got a little bit of everything in Louisiana for next year. And I'm telling you, I think you've probably got 3 bona fide 5-star possible guys in the state of Louisiana. And I think as far as your National 100 variety, I think you could have as many as 8. Maybe your 8th or 9th guy is right outside a National 100 ranking. That's how good Louisiana is for next football season. Class of 2022. Yeah, the Big Cat question. Grad transfer, recruit him out of high school. That's been out there. Where does he end up? It's going to be very... Look, I think LSU has got, some linemen there. Is there a log jam there that might prevent him? I think from a defensive line perspective, if you ask me, certainly with corners, with Stingley and Ricks, when you start talking about what is the strength of the LSU defense, you're probably going to start there. Maybe you don't like the depth as much there, but I think between what's returning and the ages of your upper guys, and then what the young guys like Jaquel and Roy and Ojolari is going to be bigger and stronger. You guys know I love Savion Jones from St. James. You want to talk about a guy like I want to see. I would like to see a before and after of the day Savion Jones arrives at LSU, and then what he looks like 2 months later. I think that's going to be insane. I think he puts on 15 to 20 pounds in a hurry. I think he's going to beast. Landon Jackson's going to be a beast. So you add all that to what's already there. I think Jacobian Guillory, he's another one that I'm looking forward to see what he's going to have in the spring. It's going to be very interesting to see next year because, last year, and I always say, look, man, I go on the road, and when I go on the road, I'm going out and seeing all positions. I'm not just focusing on guys that are your athletes. I went to Mississippi and saw McKinley Jackson, who ended up with Texas A&M, and I like Jacoby and Guillory. And boy, those two are kind of close. And of course, LSU got the Louisiana commitment and signing Jacoby and Guillory from Ash. And but McKinley Jackson, who I went and saw in Mississippi, was a beast. And of course, he played against LSU and had some big plays against LSU as a freshman. So I think Jacobian, he had COVID in the summer. Then he had a high ankle sprain. So he's a guy that I think needs to have a big offseason because I think he can be a devastating addition to LSU if he's as good as I think he can be. He had a game his senior year against West Monroe where first half he was kind of really, didn't have that good of a half, and all of a sudden he came out of the second half and was they couldn't handle him. He flipped a switch and he was devastating in that game against West Monroe, a game they lost, but he was still extremely good in that one. All right. Savion, Jim Milano, where does he sign? I don't think there's any issues with LSU. I know there's a lot of people that the thought is that he signed on December 16th, but it wasn't announced because there's a ceremony at the school at St. James. But they're just, there's no worries about him being an LSU Tiger. Don't worry about him. He is an LSU guy. I've been talking, you bring that up, and I'm talking about like he's already there. So, yeah, don't worry about Savion Jones. Yeah, Reginald Cormier. Good one. Where you feel the big defensive time Maxey from 337 will rank in the state? Big defensive lineman from Ascension Episcopal. Got a first offer from Les Miles in Kansas last week. Now he's got A&M, Notre Dame, Penn State. Absolute beast. I watch his film and I wonder if he's not going to have to be if he's not an offensive lineman. But either way, he moves extremely well, and you take him. Whether he ends up on the defensive line or he ends up like Joe Barksdale and he ends up on the offensive line, who cares? I think he's a beast. I think he's one of those guys that LSU needs to get into camp, and hopefully, there's no issues with camps. So we'll see how that goes. All right. Mike, we have a true freshman punter this season, Brett Garafola. We had Zach Von Rosenberg here in the studio last week or 2 weeks ago with Preston. And I don't know if I was on the air or I asked him while he was off the air about, is Avery Atkins. I think Avery Atkins is going to go for that job. But certainly Peyton Todd, the freshman who's already on campus, is likely to be the guy. But maybe Avery Atkins ends up winning it. So, or maybe they don't want it. Maybe if it's close, or maybe they don't want Avery to have that. But that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But Avery Atkins could be a factor there, and do that as well as kickoffs. But I think that we're going to see if Peyton Todd can be the guy immediately. So we'll see how that plays out. Jacob Burton, who fills the last LSU spots, class of 2021? I think it's going to be another offensive lineman. Might there be a high school offensive lineman that we haven't been talking about that they might take a flyer on? Certainly you got the Moko kid at Snow College, the Australian, who's got he's not a traditional JUCO kid because he's got more years of eligibility. He was already an academic qualifier. LSU's in his top 3 with A&M and Oregon. We'll see if he ends up being the guy. I know a lot of people talking about Wilson, the Harvard grad transfer. I think there's some debate there on whether he's a take, or at least there was a week or so ago. Like I said, I think that their calculus now, after getting everybody to come back on the offensive line, is that maybe they can go ahead and see if there's a guy that they can develop that will be a guy that has 5 years to play for, and that might be the route to go. So we're going to find out here in the coming weeks how that's going to play out. And of course, you got Brian Thomas, the wide receiver from Walker, who's got a spot if he chooses to take it for LSU. His committable offer is still that. Saf Adams, Sage Ryan, number 1 safety in the class. Yep. I think that spot, that position is going to be a lot better next year. So we're going to see how that plays out. What do you guys think of Urban Meyer taking the job at the Jacksonville Jaguars today? I didn't even see that. I thought it was absolutely hilarious when I read the ESPN report that Scott Linehan's name is being floated as his offensive coordinator. Look, if Urban Meyer is going to be a hands-on offensive guy in the room, I guess that's okay. I'm not impressed with Linehan at all. Sorry, no. But is he going to take Trevor Lawrence? And what are you getting in Urban Meyer? And how long do you have him for before he starts having health problems? Well, you guys set the over and under. You guys put it in the comments section. What's the over and under on Urban Meyer at Jacksonville? And not over and under because they haven't won games, just over and under until all of a sudden, again, health is causing him issues and he's going to step aside. You guys set the over and under. Is it 3 years, 2 years, 4? I'll set the over and under at 3. Let's see. Reginald Cormier. Boy, you got some good ones tonight. Is it looking like Bryce Langston will make the grades? I think I think he can be an outside guy. He's a kind of a tweener. Yes, defensive tackle or in. I was told that he is very much on pace to be academically qualified, that it was not a long shot when LSU decided to take him. So we'll see if that indeed ends up panning out. So we'll see. Brian Williams says 4 years. Phil Tittle, 2 years on Urban. Yeah, so I'm right in the sweet spot at 3, right between you guys. Let's see. Yeah, it's look, I don't want to joke about anybody's health. But it sure seems like when things aren't going their way and the loss starts to happen, we get a little bit of that Fred Sanford routine from Urban Meyer that, this is the big one, Elizabeth. I joke about that, like I say, we shouldn't joke about somebody's health, but, it's like, again, what are you getting? What is his health situation? What can you do? Is there something you can do with an anxiety medication or something? But again, how long do you have him for? And maybe the NFL game is better suited for him because he doesn't have to deal with recruiting, and he doesn't, it's not, there's a reason why Joe Brady went to the NFL because he couldn't stand recruiting. A college coach works way more hours throughout the year than an NFL coach does. So maybe that's the elixir for Urban Meyer, the NFL game. Eric DeLion, listen to 104.5 this evening, and Jake saying quarterback position wide open for next year. Good, yes. Miles looked far ahead of the other two. He threw for better yards in game completion, and I knew the offense best. Yep, and he might have an upper hand if he's 100% healthy, but I still think you throw it wide open and let the chips fall where they may with the new coaches. I think not only that, it's good for morale. And because, look, when you've got 4 scholarship quarterbacks on the roster, there's no way you're holding on to all 4 of them. Somebody's going to depart, and you need that competition, for a guy to realize, hey, if I want to play and I want to start, I need to make a move. And then, because, look, you've got 4 there now, and then you've got Walker Howard coming next year. And LSU is talking about signing 2 quarterbacks for the class of 2022. And I don't think it's because, I think they kind of have an idea where, look, we saw it before, when Narcisse and end up at Tulane. Guys, type his name. Both left within a day of each other when Burrow came that August. You can go from 4 to 2 in a hurry and be like, heck, LSU saw 3 quarterbacks this season. There's a reason, you like to have 4 this time of year, but you're likely going to be 3 in August. So, and then when you get an injury, you're right there again where LSU was this year. So you want to have no less than 3 when the season gets here, and you like to be at 4. So this time of year. And, LSU benefited from the transfer portal with Joe Burrow in the greatest year in the history of college football. And yes, I do believe LSU 2019 would absolutely beat Alabama 2020 by several scores. McMillan. Thanks, Conley. Justin McMillan. You're gonna have some movement there, and you want it to be a battle, a clear-cut battle. And if a guy ends up being 3rd or 4th, and he thinks he needs to go, then you wish him the best, and you pull for him wherever they end up, as long as it's not in the SEC. Because I like them all. I like Max Johnson, I like T.J. Finley. Garrett Nussmeier obviously is the newcomer, and Miles Brennan has put in his time, and hopefully he gets 100% healthy. But if I'm Jake Peetz, wide open. Nice to meet you guys. He doesn't have any relationships with any of them. Mangus does. DJ Mangus knows them. But Peetz has the advantage of being a new guy and saying, man, look, I've seen video of you, but we're throwing this wide open. And I think that's going to be healthy for the team. I think it's good for morale in the quarterback room. And I think it's good for morale in the team, for the entire team, and let them see where it falls. So we'll see. Seth Adams. Miles starts and TJ Finley transfers. Look, we'll see how it plays out. I know, Peetz, he said it yesterday. Of course, he had nice things to say about everybody. But, he kind of lit up when he talked about TJ Finley's ability to make every throw, and whether he's on the run or got his torso twisted the wrong way, just a snap of the wrist and the velocity that he can throw across his body and across the field with some accuracy. TJ's problem is, he's a true freshman and he makes mistakes, and some of those mistakes were costly, which is why he lost his job to Max Johnson. But I'm not ready to say that all is lost with TJ Finley. I keep saying it. I've been saying it for months. Absolutely 100% wide open. So, we'll see. Brian Williams, Meyer was at Florida for 5 years and Ohio State for 7. And that's probably, that's usually about the maximum that you can, these days to expect a coach to be somewhere. So we'll see how he does in Jacksonville. They need a lot of help over there. But I don't know if that report on ESPN is true that Scott Linehan, but I'm gonna go with over. I'm still gonna stick with my over and under of 3 years, regardless of what Urban Meyer's tenures were at Florida and Ohio State. The NFL, we think college football is not as forgiving. The NFL is worse. All right. Again, guys, please do me a favor. I tell you, I just saw a question I missed. I'm sorry. And I know I've missed a bunch of them. Pat Mashburn, my buddy, which one do you think is likely to part of the quarterbacks? I don't want to go there, Pat. I don't think that's fair. I think they've all got pluses and minuses. Age, injury, lack of mobility on one guy. One guy's got a stronger arm. Got a new offensive coordinator, new passing game coordinator, a veteran offensive line. Let's see what happens. Scott Flowers, what's Mason Smith's ceiling? I think he's got a huge ceiling. Now, there have been times when I've seen Mason where I wonder if, and partially it's due to his height, is he going to have a problem with pad level, an offensive lineman being able to get underneath him and get into his pads, and is it because of his height? It's not often that you see guys with his height, 6'6", that have a whole lot of success and be very dominant, and physically I look at him, it's kind of, he looks to me like Joe Barksdale. And I'm not saying that he's going to end up on the offensive line. I think either because of the way he moves and his athleticism, I think if he's not all SEC on the defensive line, he could be an all SEC offensive lineman if he wanted to be. So I think the great thing about Mason Smith, when you're talking about ceiling, is he's got options. And I think that's why you really like him. Of course, I have him as a 5-star, but I had Savion Jones from St. James rated higher than him. I had him 1 and 2. And, of course, Sage Ryan was right behind them. Chris Hilton, Jack Besh, Brian Thomas. I think that's pretty much the right order, if I'm recalling. Hey, guys, do me a favor. Again, like, share, hit the notification bell. Make sure you get all of our notifications. Please go to TigerBait.com. Choose the premium package, the annual. When you choose the annual, you're basically getting 3 months for free. We want to have you as a premium subscriber to TigerBait.com. You get our text alerts with breaking news. You get several newsletters each week. Our premium message board, which I'm there day and night answering your questions. All of our premium content, our analysis pieces. We got you covered. Baseball season's about to start. Brian Lazard does baseball better than anybody. We've got all your basketball coverage and, of course, spring football recruiting, all of it for you. Nobody does prospect video better than we do at TigerBait.com. And so please go subscribe to TigerBait.com. We want to have you. And again, thanks for being with us tonight. Thanks to Pride Roofing for being with us. We'll be back here next week. We're also planning on, we're really tossing around planning some more shows where we do interviews. I'm planning on bringing some guys here into the studio and taking the plant out of here, or the tree, and have another chair right there where Preston will sit, But we're going to bring in some former players. We're going to have some baseball guests. We're going to have it all for you coming here. Big plans for 2021, which is, by the way, the 25th anniversary of TigerBait.com. So I'm trying to figure out what I should do for the 25th year of TigerBait, tossing around a bunch of ideas that we're going to do either late summer or into the fall to celebrate. But yes, this is the 25th year of TigerBait.com, the oldest, longest running. Got the gray hair to prove it. And so we love all you guys being a part of our community here online, our YouTube channel, our Facebook channel, and also want to have you as a premium subscriber. So thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again next time here on our TigerBait Live show brought to you by Pride Roofing. Good night.